Well, for the record, my name is Jonathan Jones. It's my pleasure, my privilege to be your host and moderator for this afternoon. Today is Sunday, and it's August the 13th. So, in the minute you say August, that means we're 8 months into the year, and it feels like the year just got started. So it's hard to believe it's blowing by so quickly. But with so many things going on nowadays, it's no surprise that we're all busier than ever before. So it seems sometimes it's a bit overwhelming. But a little bit about me, my background. I do a lot of research. In fact, I'm not a medical doctor, so please don't ever do anything I say because I say it. I strongly recommend that you seek the competent medical advice of professionals that you trust. My background is computer electronics and engineering. And you may be saying to yourself, well, what in the world am I doing here at heading up a healthcare support conference, a discussion, about the liver and the liver regenerating itself? Well, when I say I do a lot of research, I mean that. See, I remember the day still like it was yesterday. And it goes back more than 20 years ago when my mother died. And it was the intensive care nurse who said to me, when I asked her what was she doing for my mom, she said, well, we're monitoring her very closely. And that was kind of mind-boggling to me, that in intensive care, when I thought that this was the highest level of healthcare you could possibly get, because we've been programmed that if you're sick, you take a pill. If you're really sick, you go to the doctor. And if it's an urgent, you dial 911. And the highest level of 911 is to be hospitalized. And the highest level of hospitalization is intensive care. So in my naive mind, I believed that being in intensive care meant that you were getting the highest level of care possible. And that whatever resources were available, they were being brought down on you at that moment. But this woman said to me that she was monitoring my mother very closely. And I said to myself, well, I'm doing that. I said, okay, I get that. I said, but what are you doing to change her condition? I mean, to make her better? That they basically had nothing that they could do other than monitor my mother, and she would not live to see another day. So that was the story. That was the moment that changed who and what I would become. It completely altered my trajectory. I realized at that moment that I was in the wrong line of work, because there's no piece of equipment that I could have engineered that would have extended my mother's life, not 1 minute. There's nothing that I could have brought into the equation that would have helped her to live. However, if I had access to an immune system kicker in her, I believe my mother would still be alive to this day. Her mother was still alive when she died. She died from the complications of diabetes. So that's why I am where I am. I did an abrupt change, and I completely refocused all my attention on not coming down with diabetes. Neither me nor my wife wanted to get it because her father also would die from the complications of diabetes. And I was determined to never be in that helpless situation again where I could not explain to someone who wanted to know where they could find an immune system kicker in her and not have to deal with what I had just experienced. It was the most painful, horrific experience I ever had in my life. So that's the one thing you don't want to lose is your mother. So I can tell you that right now for those of you who have not lost your mom yet. So I applaud you and congratulate you. My mother-in-law is still alive, by the way. She's 92 years old right now. And she's in Florida. She's visiting us now for the first time since 2019 was the last time she was able to travel this far. And you know what got her here? It was my sister-in-laws kept telling her that Jonathan has something new for the pain. My mother-in-law has been experiencing some extreme pain from her waist down to her feet, stenosis, sciatica, neuropathy, diabetic neuropathy, and a few other things. And so she was excited to come down to see what was available. And I'm happy to tell you that so far, Dr. Prasad's formula has brought her the relief that she's not been able to get for a long time. So it's working on her quite well. So if we have a chance, I'll tell you a little bit more about that toward the end of our discussion for those of you who would like to know a little bit more. So if my computer doesn't freeze up on me again, I'm going to try to share my screen and launch a PowerPoint presentation. We'll see what happens. Okay, so I think you're seeing the opening screen right now. Your liver can heal itself. At least that's what I'm looking at. And if you can't see that, I'm sorry, I'll just describe it for you. And basically, it's the introduction to our discussion. And I'm still looking to see if Dr. Prasad is going to join us. But here's our disclaimer. The FDA has not evaluated any of these statements. Testimonials are purely anecdotal. Results are atypical. What that means is that what happens to one person may or may not happen to you. So Engage Global, Jonathan Jones, Dr. Prasad, no one involved in this organization makes any claims that MicroDaily will cure, treat, or heal any disease state. We strongly recommend that you seek the competent medical advice of professionals that you trust when it comes to making decisions about your health and well-being. Now, that having been said, please understand something. Information that's shared with you is information you can use to take into consideration when making a decision about your health and well-being. And I hope and encourage you to do that when you're trying to make a decision about what you will do when it comes to your health. So now, what about this matter of the liver can heal itself? Well, actually, that's not a news flash, because they know that you can lose up to 2/3 of your liver and it will actually regrow itself, which is kind of amazing. But that's not really what our theme is about. Our theme is not about the liver regrowing. And that's why we didn't say that your liver can regenerate. The theme is your liver can heal itself. So what exactly are we talking about? Well, one of the most common forms of liver disease, in fact, the form of liver disease that is the earliest stages of liver disease, is called non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. That's what they call it. So it's one thing for a person to introduce high levels of toxins like alcohol and Tylenol into their body and do damage to their liver. But there's a whole nother form of disease that's precipitated by non-alcohol, and it's fatty liver disease. It's in the very early stages of it. You see the definition, right? It's a very prevalent condition and involves the accumulation of fat in liver cells, and it's mainly due to poor diet and sedentary lifestyle, obesity in a word. It can lead to inflammation, oxidative stress, and can progress to a much more severe condition. How severe? Extremely severe. This is the progression. And the chilling part about this is that according to the National Liver Foundation, let me just make sure I've got the American Liver Foundation, as many as 25% of the US population has fatty liver disease. Look at where that's going. It's just a matter of time before that leads to cancer. So it is the forerunner to many, many other diseases. Fatty liver is where it all begins. And usually when we have visceral fat, the level of visceral fat that we have, that's some folks jokingly call that Dunlap's disease, when your belly Dunlapped over your belt. So that visceral fat is the most deadly kind of fat. And usually that's a reflection of what kind of fat has built up on our liver. So you want to get rid of that to whatever extent that you can. You do not want to be in an obese sedentary condition. Again, according to the American Liver Foundation, the statistic is very high. So 25%. Cleveland Clinic estimates between 20 and 30% of all adults have excess fat in their liver. So do the math. We're talking somewhere between 80 and 100 million people, according to statistics and studies, that have excess fat on their liver. Now, does glutathione play a role? Well, it's important to kind of understand what glutathione is. Glutathione is a very potent antioxidant. Some scientists, some researchers refer to glutathione as the master antioxidant. It is the antioxidant that, when combined with other important antioxidants, presents a powerful defense against oxidative stress. And it detoxifies the body on an enormous level. And interestingly, the liver has the highest source of glutathione in the entire body. The liver does more detoxifying than anything. So it does a huge amount of the heavy lifting. So massive amounts of glutathione there in the liver. Now, if the glutathione levels are low in the liver, that can lead to a very serious problem. And just one example of how doctors to this day use glutathione to detoxify a person. I'm telling you about non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, but what if a person does have an alcohol-related liver disease? You know, the number one cause of liver damage and liver disease and accidental suicide is a combination of Tylenol and alcohol. There's a magazine called Awake that some years ago published an article in a section called Watching the World, and it actually mentioned that glutathione is affected by the combination of Tylenol and alcohol. And that's what causes their liver to just melt apart. But if a person can get to the emergency room in time and say that I accidentally overdosed on alcohol and Tylenol, you know, because the person, through their lifestyle choices, they drink very, very heavily. And then people think if they go ahead and take themselves a bunch of Tylenol, it will get rid of the headache. Next thing they know, they've overdosed on and taken too much Tylenol. All that toxicity will combine in the liver, and the liver will literally melt apart. If you can get to the doctor, to the emergency room in time, and tell the doctor what happened, the doctor will ask you how long ago it was. If it was less than 72 hours, the doctor will say, good. Then he'll send an intern in to give you a shot or an IV drip of N-acetylcysteine. Guess what N-acetylcysteine will do? It rapidly raises glutathione throughout the entire body, but especially in the liver. If it does that, it does exactly what you see being described on this slide. It detoxifies harmful substance. In this case, the harmful substance would be the alcohol and the Tylenol. The downside of it is that the person will throw up violently. So they will really throw up seriously. So that's why the doctor will never administer the N-acetylcysteine himself. He'll just send somebody else in there to do that because he don't want to be anywhere around that throwing up business. And the person, you know, can say to themselves, well, you know, I'm a little bit uncomfortable with that. But, you know, throwing up versus dying, there's no comparison to it. But that's one of the downsides of it. But that's all the toxins coming out of the body. Raising glutathione levels offers multiple benefits for fatty liver. So just wrap your mind around this. We're talking about enhanced antioxidant defense, liver detoxification, reduced inflammation, and improved mitochondrial function. Now, the last part of that is quite significant because many people comment on when they're raising their glutathione levels, when they have the right types of antioxidants in their body, including elevating glutathione levels, they notice one of the first things they notice is increased energy. So that is not an uncommon occurrence. People notice increased energy almost right away. So that's important to keep in mind. And so it's not a surprise. Glutathione plays that role. Then you combine this with certain micronutrients, and now you've got an amazing combination. So you include certain micronutrients, and it plays a crucial role in glutathione synthesis. And Dr. Prasad told us about this a few weeks ago, that these antioxidants is important to glutathione synthesis. So vitamin C, selenium, vitamin E's, and all kinds of other antioxidants, including pycnogenol and others. These are all exogenous antioxidants. Glutathione, I told you, is the master antioxidant. It's the one that your body makes. We don't make vitamin C. We don't make vitamin E. We don't make these other antioxidants. Now, animals do. So animals make vitamin C. So that's why they don't generally die from heart attacks, because what people do is because they make their own vitamin C. However, we make glutathione. So the key to this is to make sure that our glutathione levels are kept high and that we have a sufficient amount of supporting exogenous antioxidants. That's what Dr. Prasad has just been absolutely brilliant. And another one of the antioxidants that he put in his formula is vitamin E. You can find it in nuts and seeds, and that's probably one of the reasons why I like nuts. If you find yourself craving something for some reason, that may be the thing that you're most deficient in. So I can just eat nuts by the fistful. You know, just go eating all the nuts in the house. And of course, that turns around and creates, if you eat too many of them, of course, now you got the fatty liver problem. But anyway, vitamin E protects liver cells from oxidative damage, and it works right hand in glove with glutathione to counteract oxidative stress and maintain liver health. So you keep hearing this expression, oxidative stress. And if you've been listening to Dr. Prasad for any length of time, you've heard the expression oxidative stress and free radical damage over and over and over again. Now, just for this, in case someone new, and to make it kind of clear and that no one's being left behind in our discussion, oxidative stress means if there's a free radical in the body, a free radical comes from some kind of a toxin. It can be a ray of sunshine. It can be radiation. It can be a chemical. Whatever the case, this free radical wants to steal electrons from healthy cells. If it can steal those those electrons from healthy cells, the cell becomes a little bit weaker. If that cell is part of tissue connected to an organ, the organ becomes a little bit weaker. So if you want to visualize what I mean by that, if you cut an apple open, lay it on the counter, almost immediately it starts to turn brown. That's oxidative stress or free radical damage. It starts to turn brown. That turning brown is cell death, cell degradation. If you leave it there long enough, it'll just get mushy and disgusting. That's cell death. That's what happens inside our body, is we literally rust from the inside out if we have too much oxidative stress and too much free radical damage. Glutathione, vitamin C, vitamin E, all work together to reduce oxidative stress. It's almost like putting oil on a rusty wheel and knocking out the squeaks. It protects it. For the women here on our group, if you want to preserve a fruit salad, if you make a fruit salad and you want that fruit salad to be fresh 2 or 3 hours later when your guests arrive, what would you do? You might cover it, but I know that there's something else you do. You spray lemon juice on it, don't you? Some do. They spray lemon juice on it. The reason is because the lemon acts as an antioxidant and it keeps it looking fresh all the way up. It stops it from oxidizing. So that's what happens. We need to have that inside our bodies, elevated glutathione levels, and that's exogenous and endogenous antioxidants. So how do you get it? How do you keep your glutathione levels high? How do you keep these oxidants, these antioxidants high in your body? Well, what you eat makes a difference. Dr. Prasad has said it many times. He says diet plays a crucial role. And then he laughs. He says it doesn't matter how many times we tell people that they need to eat a better diet. He says they just don't. People don't change their lifestyle. They don't want to change their lifestyle. And I can understand that. I remember telling one of my uncles years ago about glutathione. And in fact, I gave him a book all about glutathione. And he's an avid reader. So he devoured that book, pun intended. And sometime later, he said his health improved tremendously because he focused on raising his glutathione levels. And I was curious because he never purchased anything to raise his glutathione levels. He said, "Oh, I just followed the diet that in that book you gave me." So I was really impressed. That's one in like a million people who actually would focus in on glutathione enhancing foods. But if you do it little by little, it's understandable. That's good because that's a total lifestyle change. But to really get an appreciable amount of these cruciferous vegetables, to get, say, 10 grams or the equivalent of say, a day and a half's worth of micronutrients in the formula that Dr. Prasad has made, you'd have to eat almost a pickup truck load of broccoli to get that much precursors for glutathione. Raw eggs, too, by the way, has lots of precursors for glutathione in it, but you'd have to eat 5 or 6 dozen raw eggs a day to get what is in just 4 to 6 capsules of 2 packets of the Micro Daily EMF Hydro. So 6 dozens of eggs, half a pickup truckload of broccoli, a wheelbarrow full of garlic along with some onions, nobody would want to be around you, and you'd have a serious plumbing problem if that's what you did every single day of your life. And that I do mean a serious plumbing problem. But those are the building blocks of glutathione. So if you can add those things to your diet, that is always a good thing. So you have a good reason now to enjoy broccoli. And by the way, asparagus also is very high in glutathione precursors. Avocado is very high in glutathione precursors. So and watermelon, very high in glutathione precursors as well. We got this little tsetse fly bugging flying around here. Okay, and then also lifestyle factors play a role. Remember one of the first slides there talked about sedentary lifestyle, obesity, when it comes to fatty liver disease. That is one of the biggest contributors to it. If you want to decrease your mortality or increase the length of your life, you want to move. You want to get moving. You want to walk at least 7,000 steps per day. That's about 3.5 to 4 miles per day. And it's very hard for most people to get that in. But I encourage you to start, even if you just go around the block a couple of times here and there, or park further away from the store than you normally would. I mean, literally try to find the furthest parking spot in the Walmart parking lot, if that's where you go, and walk. Just do more walking than ever. Take the stairs as much as you possibly can to start getting your steps in and build up to where you are doing more steps. It's your life may very well depend on it. There's clinical evidence showing that raising glutathione levels through micronutrient-rich diet and supplements can lead to reduced oxidative stress, improve enzyme liver levels, and decrease liver fat content. There is clinical evidence that proves that is the case. And we do have a story that we want to share with you that, in my opinion, really captures the essence of this exact thing taking place. And it's kind of, it's nice. I've seen it multiple times. We've had many clients. I remember getting a phone call from a client. This goes back about 10 years ago. She said that her brother was not an alcoholic, she says, and she started the conversation out that way, but she says he has cirrhosis of the liver and it's not getting any better, and I'm afraid my brother's going to die. What do you recommend? And of course, I recommended right away raising his glutathione levels. They started focusing on it right away. Within a week or two, the man had his jaundice started going away. He was out fishing and is still alive to this day. So whereas they thought they were going to have to put him on a transplant list, we had another gentleman. This goes back to around 2004 or so. These are just the ones that I can remember. He was his father was on the liver transplant list. He lived in Canada, but never had to get that liver transplant. His father did not ever get a liver transplant because his liver enzymes improved dramatically, and he got better. So, but let's take a couple of minutes now to talk to Patricia Francis. Patricia, are you still with us now? Thank you very much for joining us, Patricia, and thank you for being willing to share your story with us today.
You're welcome.
There's a lot of folks that will be able to may be able to benefit from this. Do you mind telling us, first of all, your approximate age? You don't have to disclose that if you don't want to. I'm just curious.
Yeah, I'm over 61. 61.
Ah, okay. All right. So we're the same age. So very good. Could you tell us about your health issues, your health concerns?
Yes, I'm diabetic. I had high cholesterol, high blood pressure, the trees. And I also discovered quite a few, maybe more than 10 years ago, that I had the onset of fatty liver disease. And I discovered that by the AST and ALT blood work that they do. And the doctor always recommend losing weight, which is really a challenge. I would lose 10 pounds and then put it back on. So those were my health challenges. And my mom was diabetic, had some of the similar stuff. She died of a stroke, took care of for 2 years. So I'm always like, I don't want to go down the way she did because it was a lot of suffering. So, I
Mhm.
was, glad to find a way to elevate some of the sufferings.
That's very good. That's very good. So your doctor said that you were in the early stages of fatty liver disease?
Yes, yeah.
Okay. All right, good. So how did this affect you having all these health issues?
Well,
Did
it
it
was a
change your life any?
Yeah, it was a constant, it was a constant concern. I've tried different things over the years and wish, got me ready for this new thing that I get in because I was always searching, for a way to, to either delay it, avoid it. So yeah, it did
Okay.
affect my life. Yeah. And I was always, yeah, and I must mention I also have Hashimoto's syndrome, which is thyroid disease that always made me chronically tired and lethargic, and that affects my health. And on top of that, I got COVID. Oh my, and then it's home. I couldn't. I lost my job because of that because I couldn't focus, I couldn't function.
Wow. You
Yeah.
just you're a walking petri dish. You had all kinds of things going on there. Very sorry to hear about this. So what has changed in your life now then?
Well, I had a friend, called me up and tell me about, micronutrients and how nutrients, can, help improve my health and if I wanted to try it. So I said, okay. But I was visiting in New Jersey at the time. So I said, I wait till I get back to Florida. Got back to Florida right away. May 5th, I started on the micronutrients, start taking them. Then that same week I had a doctor appointment, so it was great because I saw where my blood work was, where my starting point was, and so I start taking start doing the micronutrient program after the blood work.
Yeah,
And
and what was the result of that? I think I've got a picture of your result, but go ahead and tell us about it.
yeah, well, 2 months after that, it was time to, to check in with the doctor. And so she did some more blood work. And as you can see, I don't know if you can see it here on maybe you can see it. But anyhow, I'll just tell you. And so May 9th, when I went in for the blood work, my AST was 42, which was high. She says that, your liver, she said your liver is high, your numbers are high. And then you can see 2 months after that, I went in. That would be the 5th of July. The first thing she said when she walked in the door, your liver is doing good. The numbers, the AST numbers was at 35.
Wow.
Yeah, and yeah, so that was quite impressive because that's what got my attention because many years I spent struggling and keeping it down, and it keep creeping up each year. So I was really, really thrilled about that.
Wow, that's incredible. So you're saying that in just 2 months' time, you saw the numbers go into the normal range, and you had been fighting with that for years.
Yeah, not only that, I was going in there I was going in the micronutrient things to see how it would help my blood sugar, but I got some other surprises. I was also struggling with the cholesterol problem, and that also was like impressive. Let's see if I find the panel thing. Okay, this is what I looked like in May 5th. 202 high total cholesterol. July 5th, 157.
Oh my goodness. When was it 202? In May?
It was in May, yeah, May, yeah.
And then the same thing in July. In July, it went from 202 down to
157, I kid you not.
157.
I like paperwork. I like evidence. I got the paperwork here. Then the triglycerides was 101, was 88 in May. Well, that kind of a little shift, the 101. But the other impressive one was LDL cholesterol. It was 108 in May. It went to 75 in July.
Wow.
So,
Wow. Wow.
yeah, so I was really, really happy with those improvement. And I've never had those before.
Wow.
Even though, I used to get so frustrated. I go to the doctor, I'm like, I'm not eating a lot of stuff, but I'm eating well. Why is it so high? It's still high, no improvement. So this was really, really amazing.
Wow. Wow. That's fantastic, Patricia. And we're so happy that you got the kind of results that you got.
Yeah.
If I remember correctly, I've seen a couple of videos where you were out jogging and you're out exercising. What's going on with that? So now you've got the energy to do this?
Yeah, because many years ago, I had a real bad episode with chronic fatigue syndrome, and exercise seems to make it worse, So I avoided exercise for many years. And, my grandson, 20 and very athletic, is spending the summer with me. And I was able to with him with some of the workout. I didn't keep the same pace, but I was there. Sometimes he was the one asking me, "Are you ready?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm ready."
Wow, that's incredible. And someone's asking a question: has your A1C improved?
Oh yeah, it was about 6.3 and it's 6.1. Okay, and for this past, and it's getting better each time. I'm going to show you the average on my little monitor here. So this is the last 7 days. Let me see. Okay, just a minute. Last 7 days. Okay. View logbook. Okay, summary. Okay, so this is the last 7 days. My high is 90.
Pull it closer to the middle.
Okay.
Yeah, that way, a little more.
Okay.
And down a little. Okay, perfect. Down a little bit.
More.
Good.
Okay. So as you see, 97 is high for me. Before I was on the micronutrient program, 112 in the morning. And if I ever had a snack, it was 120.
Wow.
Look, look what they call high.
That is absolutely wonderful. Thank you
Yes,
very much for
97 is
sharing this.
high, average is 92, and 87 is low.
That's outstanding. That is outstanding. So
Yeah.
please make sure that you tell us what the follow-ups are, and I'm
Right.
going to get in contact with you because I'm going to want to send this information into Dr. Prasad so he can add it to one of his observational studies. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. I'm excited, and I thank Dr. Prasad so much for his work with micronutrients, and because it does brought a lot of benefit and changes, to my life, and possible I've delayed the onset of many, afflictions.
Are you taking just the micro daily, or also the probiotics and the collagen peptides?
Oh, well, I started out with the micro daily capsule, the red bottle, and the probiotics. That was the first one. Then when the actual came out, I moved on to that. Now I'm taking time move on to because I tried them separately because I got a scientific mind too, so I like to experiment because I'm from the islands and I experiment a lot with herbs. So I like to do things separate to see who is doing what.
Sure.
Yes.
Wow.
That's how I started out with, and I got great results with just those two, the micro.
Yeah, I mean, those two are the must. And then, of course, most recently, we developed omega-3, which are, as you know.
I just ordered that. So,
Yeah.
this thing might be blown out of the park when I start on that.
You will feel much better because the essential fatty acid that omega-3s are. We don't make it. We rely on diet.
Yeah.
And fish diet had more, say DHA, EPA, and if you're a vegetarian, it has only alpha alanine, and so they are very slowly get converted to DHA, and so I always recommend until you are a vegan.
Yeah, I forgot to mention the thyroid issue, that she had to reduce the levothyroxine from 125 to 100.
Oh, that's very
my.
good.
Yeah,
That's beautiful. That is beautiful. Patricia, thank you very
Thank
much
you. Thank you.
for
Thank you.
sharing your story. I'm going to be getting back with you to get some more details on that, okay?
Okay.
But Dr. Prasad, welcome. Welcome to our discussion. Glad that you were able to make it.
Thank you.
I didn't have my usual help, so was not able to see when you joined the discussion.
That's
so
okay.
Glad that you made it, because I got a couple more questions for you. So
Sure.
we got questions, Dr. Prasad. so
Sure.
you come just in the nick of time. So what does that do to you, Dr. Prasad, when you hear an example like this, where this woman has carefully documented the progression of her liver enzymes, and she can definitively say that she added your formula to her diet, and that is what she believes is the cause of these liver enzyme numbers improving like this?
Yeah, I mean, that's very interesting, and also it is very informative. And this kind of data that she has provided is of great value to not only to us or to the company, but also to overall scientific community, because they don't think that micronutrient can do all these functions improvement, and therefore, again, you emphasize glutathione is the most powerful, and it is present in the body in a millimolar level, means very high level, and that's the reason we have a not only diet like Jonathan, you suggested, is very rich, certain type of diets, and also that we have added alpha lipoic acid and N-acetylcysteine. Alpha lipoic acid has many other functions for beneficial effect, but it also increases the activity of glutathione peroxidase, the enzyme which makes glutathione. And so we have added alpha lipoic acid. But for the enzyme to make a glutathione, you need a substrate like cysteine. So there are certain amount of cysteine is in a plasma through our diet, but also we added an additional amount by N-acetylcysteine. N-acetylcysteine by itself has a unique function, but it also provides a substrate, cysteine, because when it goes to your bloodstream, enzyme will chop up and acetyl and cysteine will be there available for glutathione peroxidase to make glutathione. So this is very important. Another thing very important to remember that, as you mentioned, Jonathan, that the liver disease, and liver has the only organ in our body which has a capacity to regenerate. And like you said, 2/3 of the liver you can chop off, and they will regenerate back to the normal level, normal amount. But if the liver has a fatty liver, and if it is replaced by fibrosis, fibrous tissue, that damage cannot be repaired, cannot regenerate.
Oof.
And so the fibrosis is, once it happens, it is irreversible damage. But not the entire liver is fibrotic, then you will be dead. But at least the patches of fibrosis is there. And so the question is how you prevent this fibrosis. And like you mentioned, that not only the antioxidant, but also that the glutathione, but also some other antioxidant which can help, for example, to activate NERV2, because most of the chronic diseases like fatty liver, the NERV2 become very resistant to free radical induced activation. And so the only way you can activate them is by antioxidant. like vitamin E, glutathione, several enzymes can do it by different way. And so, and once you've not fully activated, that it not only increases the antioxidant enzyme, but it also increases detoxifying enzyme, which is very important for the liver. So it has a double function. So this is very important to make sure that your nerve 2 is highly activated all the time to take advantage of this. And so I'm very happy to hear her story. And again, not only that, but it has a multifactorial effect. It is not only this one, but it also has a, because same pathway, increased oxidative stress, and I have been emphasizing, and chronic inflammation is involved in almost all human diseases.
Mm-hmm.
And it is just question of by what mechanism disease is occurring, in which organ. But oxidative stress always plays the role. And so it is very important that, in a liver disease and microdaily EMF, that's why it is so important that, like you mentioned, that not only it increases the highest possible level to increase the glutathione level, but glutathione also leave help from other coenzyme Q10, because glutathione can help mitochondria to make energy. Yeah. But if it gets protected, then the coenzyme is a substrate, is required to make energy. So that's why the single approach, like most of the people say, well, you take, for example, probiotics alone and you will be happy. Or microdaily, many people were happy just with microdaily original. Right. Then we introduce microdaily EMF, they feel a little better. And then, so our approach right now is that a single approach maybe do some good, but you have to have it for your optimal health for prolonged times while you are aging. You require a multiple approach, which involves microdaily, because it reduces oxidative stress and inflammation. Then you require a probiotics, because intestinal dysbiosis means increase the number of harmful bacteria in the gut is going to be causing a problem, because they produce a lot of toxic chemicals that are absorbed from the intestine and can damage all your organ in your body. So we don't want to do that. So we say take probiotics, and probiotics with prebiotics will help restore the bacterial population balance in favor of beneficial bacteria. And then your gut is healthy. If your gut is healthy, everything will be absorbed very nicely, even micronutrient or any food you eat, and so on. And then came to a third, it would be omega-3 fatty acid that we recently developed. And we can say that, well, we could have ignored omega-3 fatty acid. Yeah, we have been ignoring for a long time, and people have been ignoring them for a long time. But now we become aware that this is called a fatty, the essential fatty acid. We have non-essential fatty acid that our body makes it. Right. Essential fatty acid, our body does not make it. Right. So it is important to have also, because it is very important for your brain function. Because your brain has a lot of membranous structure, axon, dendrites, connection, they talk to each other. And they also have a lot of receptors. When you have a lot of membrane, you have a lot of receptors. Yeah. And they need the DHA to form the membrane and receptors. And so while glutathione or antioxidant protects the membrane against oxidative stress, but you need something also to form it. So they continue to form a healthy one and remain stable. And that's why, as I said, 40% of the fatty acid in the brain is represented by glutathione and the DHA. Yeah. The omega-3 fatty acid. And EPA is about 1%. But again, but if you are vegetarian, you have a alpha ALA, alpha linolenic acid, and but you take a lot. But the rate of conversion to DHA is extremely slow, and therefore you will not get the maximum advantage if you just have a ALA, alpha ALA. Then we have, in this case, we have also omega-6. Omega-6 is also essential fatty acids, but the dose-dependent, its function is dose-dependent. At low dose, it acts as an anti-inflammation, but high dose, it acts as a it increases the inflammation.
Mhm.
And the US diet has a ratio, or Western diet in general,
Too much.
ratio of 1 to 10.
Wow.
In other words, 10 times more omega-6 than omega-3.
Oh my goodness.
And in Alaska, in Alaskan people, in the native, they had a ratio of 1 to 1. And as you know, they have very little risk of any kind of things. And so the scientists came to agreement that 1 to 4 would be okay. I said, no, 1 to 4 is too much.
Yeah, 1 to
Gave
1.
it 2 to 1 means higher amount of DHA and lower amount of EPA. That ratio is very important and has done a lot of clinical study to show it improves brain function. And then, of course, collagen peptide, we know the story of that. So these 4, for your optimal health while you are aging, with or without disease, is very essential for improving your health.
That's powerful, Dr. Prasad. Now, a follow-up question. With that ratio of omega-6 being so badly out of whack, is it possible that that could contribute in any way to fatty liver disease?
It could be one of the factors. It could be one because it increases inflammation, and anything increases inflammations. And liver function is so important for detoxifying purpose.
Right.
Like the enzyme 450, for example, there's one enzyme called 450 enzyme that, and so if they get inhibited by certain drugs and other things, they get inhibited, then your level of medication that you are taking will go high in your plasma, in your blood, and that might cause toxicity. And so to maintain that enzyme function and thereby providing a sufficient amount of not only glutathione, but other antioxidant as well is very essential.
That's powerful. We have a couple of questions that have popped up in the chat for you. And for the benefit of everyone who's on, we showed you the slides there to tell you how you can get the micro daily EMF hydro.
Yes.
And I'm here to tell you folks, that's the one that I recommend. I take that every single day.
Yeah.
And as I started out the discussion, I told you about my mother-in-law. My mother-in-law has a terrible diabetic neuropathy, and she has stenosis, back pain, and all she did was she came in the door complaining about all the severe pain. And you know how sometimes it is with family, getting family to understand that to do something by remote is very difficult. But the moment she's with us, she's under our control. And so I immediately made 1 pack of hydro and 1 scoop of collagen peptide. Dr. Prasad, she said, and it wasn't even 5 minutes later, within seconds, she said, okay, the pain's going down. And you're saying to yourself, okay, well, maybe this is placebo, because my sister-in-law were really thinking that placebo, everything was just psychosomatic with her. But the pain came back again about 4, 5, 6 hours later. My wife mixed the exact same cocktail again. Once again, it went away. Yeah. And now it looks like she's on a regimen where if we give it to her every 4 to 6 hours, she's pain-free, Dr. Prasad. And I'm telling you, it's hydro and the collagen peptide that's doing it.
Yeah, I mean, hydro, as you know, Jonathan, you have said many times, the difference between the capsule and hydro is that hydro is absorbed very quickly. So if you have under acute condition, like Jonathan is mentioning, hydro would be the best because capsule takes time. It goes to your stomach, then the capsule has to be dissolved, and then goes to the intestine, then it has to be slowly absorbed. So it takes time.
Right.
Ultimate beneficial effect is same. But difference is that if you have acute condition like this, but then, and also your preference, but if you have acute condition, whether it is diabetes or any kind of health issue, then it is hydro is the best because it gets quickly absorbed within a few minutes.
I'm highly recommending it, folks. So you just go with hydro.
I mean, I take 2, and so again, it depends upon your preference, but I think you are correct. I think hydro would be my preference too.
Run for this one, folks. Get this one on subscription. And that's what my recommendation is. Now, each of these bundles that you see here, you can replace the capsules with the hydro. It's just $3 or $4 more. So just speak to the person who invited you, and they'll help you get it. Because the one you want is that core 4, the one all the way on the top there.
Those
core 4. That's the one you want to get. But the person who invited you, they can help you set that subscription up so you get that on a regular basis. But here's the question, Dr. Prasad. This Dorcas says that she's diabetic and she has glaucoma. She's taking 2 injections in her eyes every 6 weeks and 2 insulin injections daily. Is your recommendation the core 4, or she wants to know what exactly do you recommend?
Core 4 will be very good. And I tell you example of my personal example of glaucoma and the drops that she's taking. My wife, with the genetics, has a problem that her eye pressure was very high, and doctor do some laser therapy, and like she's taking few drops. I don't know the name of the drops, but they were taking. But it was never came down more than 18, 17. But when the eye boost became available to us, then she started taking immediately eye boost. And then my son had the same issue, but he is still young. So, but he's at like 18 average level. So he has started also taking the eye boost. And within 3 months, when he went to the doctor again to look at it, the pressure dropped to 13 and 14.
Wow.
And so in 3 months. And so I never had any of those kind of problem, but they have genetic issue. But so the lady who's asking the question, I will say try 4 plus eye boost also, not only these 4 that you've suggested, Jonathan, but in her case, because it has eye, sometimes you have a specific issue, like somebody has eye issue, somebody don't have eye issue.
That's right.
It's for everything. But suppose if you have eye issue, macular degenerations, for example, any kind of eye disease, then I say you take eye boost as well. And some people some people have memory loss problem.
Then they can add the brain boost.
Memory loss. Then you take brain boost also.
Okay.
So these are a specific issue oriented supplement.
Right.
But 4 of them that Jonathan mentioned is absolutely essential for your good health.
Okay, so there you have it, Dorcas. The core 4, but then also add the eye boost to your protocol. Now here's another question.
And then let us know after 3 months how your pressure goes. What is the pressure right now with taking all these things?
Dorcas, what is your eye pressure now? You know what your eye pressure is running now, Dorcas? 20/25. Okay.
So that's very high. You will see that it comes out 3 months, come down dramatically. Yep.
Make sure you let us know, Dorcas, okay?
Can you please tell me the name of the medication again, sir?
Eye boost. Speak to the person who invited you and they'll help you. It's the eye boost, the core 4, the core 4 that you see on the screen.
Okay.
Dr. Prasad's core 4, and then add the eye boost to that.
Exactly.
We'll let you know the results.
All right. We look forward to hearing from you.
Thank you.
And someone else asked a question now, Dr. Prasad. This question is a little technical. He or she says, does microdaily 5G, which I think she means EMF, they mean EMF, does microdaily EMF facilitate on all 48 receptor sites on our cells?
Well, I mean, nobody had done exact study, but what Dr. Court, who is, as you know, he's called Doctor of EMF, and he treats many patients who has this so-called hypersensitivity.
Yeah,
and then microdaily EMF is very good in terms of elevating the symptoms of a hypersensitivity. And as your hypersensitivity system is a dizziness, sleeping problem, mental cognitive dysfunction, many things. So this is acute effect. Late effects also involves reproductive organ damage, brain damage, Alzheimer, cancer is another one. So So to answer your question, we don't know all receptors, and there are many receptors in the body, probably more than what you mentioned. And but important thing is that it will provide a protection. Receptor is a protein, and protein gets damaged by oxidative stress and inflammation. So I would say that it will provide, no matter how many receptors, how many places are there, if that place has a sufficient amount of the antioxidant, then all receptor will be protected from oxidative damage, whether the insulin receptor, whether it is any kind of receptor.
Yeah, they'll all benefit from it. Okay, very good. Here's another one. At what point should someone who has cancer or has had cancer, when can they begin to take collagen peptides?
Collagen peptides only if you are totally cancer-free.
Once they're cancer-free, once your doctor declares you cancer-free, then you can get back on collagen peptide.
Then collagen peptides, yes.
All right, very good. And then there's someone else here that says, I had vertigo a few months ago, and it seemed like my balance is still off. I get dizzy washing dishes or standing. What do you recommend?
Well, 4 that you mentioned, Jonathan, plus the brain boost.
The core 4 plus the brain boost. So that's Michelle Griffin. The core 4 plus the brain boost is the suggestion for you.
For 90 days, and let us know. We want to know all these people who are unique health issue, and we feel that it will help. But nobody has done a clinical study to say for sure it will, but it will not harm you anyway.
That's right. Exactly. All right, so very good. So listen, folks, we just about exhausted the time that we had allotted for our discussion today, and we were very fortunate that Dr. Prasad was able to make it and join us in our discussion, because as you could see, it was well worth getting his input, because from a scientific perspective, he was able to confirm all of the research that we pulled up and then confirm exactly how glutathione enhancement, which his formula does extraordinarily well, and how exogenous antioxidants, which his formula does extraordinarily well in providing an enormous amount of it, how all that synergy works to benefit even the 80 to 100 million people, if they were to take it, who is on the verge of fatty liver disease. So what's it going to do for you and me, and who are trying to stay healthy right now? So concentrate, take a screenshot of this schedule, this calendar right here, folks. Take a screenshot of this, because this is where you can see all the places where Dr. Prasad will be giving comments on various aspects of health. You can invite someone to come to those meetings, and they'll be able to hear this brilliant man share how and why this formula can make a difference for them. Now, next week, are you sitting down?
Yeah, protect your brain.
So you don't want to miss next week now. Next week, we're going to be talking about what is it that Micro Daily does as far as that brain is concerned? What is it that Collagen Daily does as far as that brain is concerned? What does Omega Daily do as far as that brain is concerned? And what happens? I dare you to ask the question. What happens when you put the probiotic in the equation, and then what happens when you put the brain boost in the equation? Next week, you don't want to miss that. Okay, so just make sure that you're there. This is next Sunday at 5 p.m. Dr. Prasad is going to be here from the top of the hour to the bottom of the hour. We're going to be here with Dr. Prasad next time. Okay,
sounds good.
So, Dr. Prasad, we can't thank you enough again for joining us and sharing with us all of the phenomenal amount of information that you have accumulated over the years. It's valuable to us, and it helps each of us to feel more confident that we have access to something that potentially can change lives. It's already changing our lives, but we can confidently share it with someone else and potentially change their lives too. So thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you,
folks,
Jonathan.
You can unmute yourselves and say goodbye to Dr. Prasad. For those of you who are in my group, you want to stick around for 30 minutes. We're going to have a brief business meeting. If you're in my group, stick around for 30 minutes.
Let's go.
Dr. Prasad.
Dr. Prasad.
Dr. Prasad. Thank you,
Awesome
Jonathan.
dynamic duo.
Very good, Dr.
Good luck.
Prasad.
Dr. Prasad.
Thank you, John.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. You heard it?
Jonathan.
Bless you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Prasad.
Thank you all for joining us. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Prasad. Thank you, Jonathan. Thank you, sincerely. Have a wonderful Saturday. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you guys for joining us. Thank you so much for being here.
You still have my number?
Yeah.
Okay.
We're going to have a brief business meeting for any who would like to stick around. You can stay even if you're not in my team if you want to.
Darkness has notification silence.
Hey, man. What's up, man?
It doesn't matter. Yeah, it doesn't matter. Whatever you send to her, it's
Oh,
silent,
sorry.
but she can read it.
Oh, okay.
I need an
She called me now.
Okay, so here's I want to share one thing first before we start in our discussion on the business meeting. Just one thing I want to share first, especially for those who are here wondering about whether or not there's an opportunity associated with this company. And I can tell you absolutely yes, because when something exists that very few people know about, that's called an opportunity. When there's a huge problem and you are one of a very few people that have the solution, that's called an opportunity. When a lot of people want something or need something and you have it, that's called an opportunity. And right now, there is no question about it. The level of issues that's existing right now is extremely high. And there are people who are all looking for alternatives. Their doctors are even telling them that they've reached the limit as to what they can provide them with. My mother-in-law came here and my sister-in-laws were all admitting the same thing, that there was absolutely nothing that the doctors could do for my mother-in-law's pain. There's nothing. She's severely allergic to everything. And if they try any kind of new medications or something on her, she breaks out, and she's almost 93 years old, by the way. I don't know if I told you all that. She's just a couple months away from being 93. And about 30 years ago, she was already reaching the limit of how her body was functioning. She was in decline. So now about 20 years ago, that's when we started giving her all kinds of natural supplements and making changes. About 15 years ago, we got her off the tray of medicines that she was on. She was taking about 20 or 30 different medications. We had to organize it all on a spreadsheet. And now she takes maybe one or two. And if she stays on the cocktail we have her on now, she just stays on it. The doctor is already every month, every time she goes to the doctor is being forced to continue to reduce the dosage of what she's taking to almost non-existent levels. They don't understand how it is that this could be the case. So I'm saying this to you that if something can work to this degree on someone in this condition, you truly do have something very, very special, something that you can share with people and have confidence that it works. You can have confidence that it works. And that's why I highly recommend that you feel comfortable with passing on information about Micro Daily to anyone that you come in contact with. So business opportunity. It's only $50, and the company pays 3 different ways. You can get paid by, hang on a second here. Let me just, you know what? Let me just find this, this video for you. I think this video will probably, if I can locate it.
At Engage, we're redefining an entire industry. We're connecting our mission to bring health and wellness to the world with the world's most scientifically validated micronutrients, and our vision of creating a first of its kind enhanced affiliate pay plan where 100% of our affiliates can win and make real money. Our affiliate plan rewards you for enrolling customers, and our team builder plan rewards you for building a team of affiliates. You can do one or both. It's up to you, and both reward you unlike any other pay plan in the world. This whole thing works thanks to our loyal monthly subscribers who find such great results. They stay with us for much longer than industry standard. Retention. 1 month average 94%, but some months at 100%. 3 month average 72%. 12-month average 60%. This plan works so well, 45% of Engage affiliates make money within 90 days or less, compared to many companies where only 2 to 3% ever make any money, and 70% make zero. Here's how you make money with our enhanced affiliate pay plan. We pay 100% commissions on all enrollment orders with a subscription. Next, we've taken the guesswork out of success with our predictable pay plan. Predictable pay with Engage means you get paid on all your customers or team volume. Orders translate to volume, and that is how you get paid here at Engage. No levels, no MLM limitations and gotchas. We really pay on infinite volume, and it is paid on all orders in your organization. Every month, it's predictable. Build a customer network, and in addition to the all of it bonus, you'll make 10 to 30% customer monthly commissions on each customer order depending on your rank. If you like to build and work with a team, we reward you for that in a way no other company offers. Build a team, and you'll make predictable team builder monthly commissions of $150,000 to $45,000 based on your team volume. You can also earn double bonuses each time you rank advanced during our double bonus periods. Keep an eye out for our special double bonus periods so that you can amplify your income. Are you tired of looking for something real? Find your home at Engage. Real products, real money, real goodness and hope. Contact the person who shared this with you to get started.
Very simple, very clear explanation. Use that video to introduce the opportunity to anyone that you know might be looking for a real legitimate work at home opportunity. Now, it is very simple, and I have diagrams and PowerPoint presentations that kind of lay it all out, but I'm here to just basically tell you that if you want to grow your business, you get your guests to come to our meetings on Sunday. And then there's training that takes place during the week. If they come to the meeting on Sunday, the conference with Dr. Prasad on Sundays, so far, we're in the 95% close rate. They may not close that same day, but they tend to close at some point because they hear facts, because we don't embellish anything. We don't make anything up. Everything that we pass on is verifiable and provable. Everything is verifiable and provable. We're not making any medical claims. Not at all. Still recommend that you go to a doctor. I'm not a doctor. You still go, see professionals that you trust. But if you want information that can help you and make a difference, bring them here. And that changes their life. And every single person knows 4 or 5 people who need the same thing. Have them bring their guests here on Sundays. And if they can't make it on Sunday at 5 o'clock, just share the recording with them. It's that simple to build your customer base. And listen carefully. All you need let's say your goal is just to pay your rent. Okay. Let me just ask, just by a show of hands, raise your digital hand. How many of you wouldn't mind having free rent for 6 months, somewhere around $2,000 a month? How many would that would be a good thing for you to have a couple $1,000s a month to pay your rent or toward your rent? Okay, so I see all the bunch of hands going up. Okay, so quite a few. So we got 52 that are on here. And out of the 52, it looks like about a dozen, maybe it'll eventually reach up to about 20 that would benefit from having some free rent for 6 months or so. If that is the case for you, are there any guesses as to how many customers you need to have to, say, get $2,000 per month? Customers, I'm not talking about affiliates. Any guesses? Someone, just raise your hand or just unmute yourself and just tell me how many customers you think you have to make $2,000 a month in income. I'm not talking about someone who's been here at one of these meetings or something like that. Still, just a wild guess. Nobody wants to take a wild guess? Go ahead, Evelyn. $2,000 now.
10.
I'm sorry?
10.
You think 10 customers would get you $2,000 a month? That's pretty good. Okay. Anybody?
Depending on what they're on.
What's that?
Depending on the products they're using.
Okay. All right. Okay, depending on the product. So are you thinking that is that 10 customers with what, Brain Boost, or 10 customers buying for their whole family? What are you thinking?
10 customers that are on the Dr. Prasad choice or the no package.
Okay, all right, that's good. That's good. Then you're in the ballpark. Go ahead then, Tracy.
I agree. I think 10 packages of the quad 4 should give you that 2,000.
That's right, because you're right around $220, something like that for the core 4.
Thereabouts, yeah.
Okay. So is everybody listening to this? Now, it's going to take a little more than that. It's going to take a little more than that, because to get up to the point value, it will take somewhere around 16. I'm going to round it up to about 20 customers. You get about 20 customers and you're making a little over $2,000 every single month. That's if the average customer is $190 a month that they're paying. It only takes about 20 customers to get a commission of more than $2,000 per month. So think about that. 20 customers. Now, I can tell you that in my organization, I have one great grandmother who's in her late 70s. In fact, she has maxed out the customer compensation program. And did I already tell you that she's a great grandmother? Did I mention that part already? Well, I'm going to say it again. She's a great grandmother, and she has maxed out the commission, the percentage for the customer commission. She makes 30% commission on every one of her clients. And she's a grandmother, great grandmother in her late 70s, retired a long time ago. And that's what she makes. What about those who got a little bit more youth on their side and maybe even have a little bit of influence around? Could you do that? 20 customers. That's it. So we're not talking about a whole lot. So, and that's why I'm just trying to help you guys get it in perspective here. Don't think that you've got to be Jeff Ashby. Don't think that you've got to be Jonathan Jones and do presentations. Don't think you've got to be Bernard Dean. All we have to do is do what we do. You invite people here and I'll do my thing. I'll do what I can to help them to understand what to do. But we need more people here. We have Dr. Prasad here on Sundays. Do you know that we should have 300 and 400 people on these meetings? Now, granted, when you have 100, that's probably about 200 or so, because a lot of the connections have 2, 3, 4, and 5 people on it. So I agree that may be already about that number, but we should have somewhere around 200 to 300 connections. About a year ago, we had about 300 or more connections on Sundays. So get more people here if you want to grow your business. Just get more people here and you'll see that start to happen. So let's see if anybody's got any questions that's business related. And before we wrap up our discussion, I've got to take a run down to Miami. And by the way, anyone who's in my group and you want to participate in the workshops are on Thursdays at 2:00. This is a time if you want to expand your reach, because right now we're training on social media and the training is off the Richter scale. It's extremely good. So you guys should send me a text message or a message in WhatsApp and let me know if you're going to be here this coming Thursday, because John Barton will be coming back again next Thursday. And there's a couple things that we've got to get done between now and then to make sure that we benefit fully from the training he's going to be providing this coming Thursday. So there's a few things that we need to make sure we set up. So tomorrow in the afternoon, I'm going to be available for anyone who wants to make sure we're set up for this coming Thursday's discussion. So guys, send me a text message and let me know if you want me to block the time off. If you do, I'll be blocking off from 3:00 to 4:00 tomorrow afternoon so that we can be prepared for John Barton's Thursday training. If we don't get prepared for John Barton's Thursday training, I'm going to cancel that training, because I don't want to have the trainings if no one wants to grow their business. We won't do it. Okay. But otherwise I will do there. I'm going to meet you guys. I'm going to do whatever you want done. I'm going to get behind you and I'm going to help you to grow your business, because I'm 110% committed to making this thing grow and happen. Okay. Any questions? So let's get that about the business and the business opportunity. One question that often comes up, especially if you're new here for the first time: how much does it cost to start the business? It's less than $5,000. Okay, I'm exaggerating. It's only $50. And that's the truth. $50, that's it. That's all it costs. Go ahead, Sonia, your question. Don't forget to unmute.
Okay, it wouldn't let me at first, sorry. Just for clarification, for the training on Thursday, you said we need to meet with you tomorrow first?
Yeah, we need to cover some basic things that he's already covered from the past 2 or 3 weeks. So we need to talk about those few things and make sure that you're set up for that. Because otherwise, anyone who wants to be here for Thursday to get going and go to the next level, the meeting is going to be, the training is going to be totally over your head. It's going to be a waste of time, and it's going to be a waste of his time.
Okay.
Because he'll be repeating a lot of the same things again. So this tomorrow, 3:00 to 4:00, I will even stay longer for those who need additional help to make sure that your social media profile is set up to benefit from what he's going to be doing this coming Thursday. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Joyce, that covers your question? Okay. We're going to be launching a contest, and this will be a level of motivation for bringing guests to next Sunday's meeting. So I can't announce the contest today, but this is not going to be an Engage Global contest. It's going to be a Jonathan Jones contest about bringing guests to next Sunday's meeting, because it is really going to be an intense meeting about the brain. So you got people who are dealing with dementia, Alzheimer's, or don't want to have those problems. You want to get them there next coming Sunday. Go ahead, Belinda, please. Your question.
Yes. Good evening. Great call on today. Yes, tomorrow. Is it going to be right here on this your same Zoom information?
Correct.
Okay. And that's from 3 to 4?
Correct.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Yep. So again, I need to get a text message because otherwise I'm not going to break the time off. I got a whole lot of more things that I could be doing, but I will break the time off if I get text messages telling me that you want that time slot. Okay. So, and telling me verbally is not going to do it because as soon as I blink, I forgot we even had the conversation, but you text message me, that's on my list. Okay. So you guys make sure. So use WhatsApp or text, whatever. And then I add you to the list for that, for tomorrow at 3:00. Okay. All right, you guys, keep up the excellent work. We can grow this. Right now, nobody knows about Engage Global. And I really think it's a pity and a shame. And there's times when I'm absolutely downright embarrassed that we are not getting the word out enough. I don't know why it's not catching fire. I don't know why people aren't kicking the door down and demanding this stuff. It makes no sense to me. So either I feel like either I'm doing something very wrong or we're all doing something very wrong and we're all being duped. But this should be exploding. It doesn't make any sense to me that more people aren't jumping all over this. Go ahead, Joycelyn. Don't forget to unmute.
So what'd you think about the Hamiltons?
So Jonathan,
Yes.
are
go
you
ahead.
saying, you said text you, so does that mean if the text is not sent to you, then you won't be able to get into the room?
No, you'll be able to get into the room.
Okay,
That's
so what's
that's
the
just giving
text
me-
message? What's your WhatsApp or text message thing? Or is this just for your team? Your direct team, I should say, because we all on the same team. But
You're welcome to come. 754-300-8909.
uh-oh, you too fast for me.
I'm
740.
gonna put it in the chat right now.
Okay. Thank you.
So send messages. You're welcome to join. Mostly it's been a lot of my core team because I mean they're starting to do gangbusters now. But for anybody that wants to get in on this social media bandwagon, it's time. It is time. Okay. All right, you guys. Thank you all very much again for joining us. And I cannot commend you enough for the hard work that you guys are doing and your consistency and your being at these meetings on the weekends. And I'm noticing that a whole bunch of you are attending many of the other meetings on a regular basis too. That means that you want to learn. That means you want to learn and you want to get as much information under your belt so that you can get the word out to other people. And that is truly commendable that you do that. So don't give up and don't slow down on your effort. I think it's going to all pay off for us all in time. And that's the reason why I don't stop. And I'm not going to stop because I think the product is just too good. What I just saw happen yesterday again, I feel like I'm a broken record, but what I saw yesterday again with my mother-in-law and her pain, when the doctors have said again and again and again that there's nothing they could do for this 92-year-old woman, they could not help her. That does not make any sense to me. And as far as I'm concerned, that's totally, totally unacceptable. I don't think any elderly person should be allowed to suffer. I just don't think that that's right. So, and if we can do something about it, I feel like we should. And I think we have it within our power to be able to make a difference for any elderly person that we personally care about. So we have an opportunity to do that. So let's just jump all over it and do what we can to help people out. So keep up the good work. I'll see you guys. Some of you I'll see tomorrow. Some of you I'll see on Tuesday night. Yes, on Tuesday night. Some of you I'll see on Sunday. Bye, everybody. Let's go. Good night. Dorcas is signing up tomorrow. Very good, Tim. Outstanding. Yeah, my computer's gone crazy again.